the FIA finally getting to listen to the world and knowing what the world thinks about them. That to me is honestly, I think one of the greatest moments in all of motorsport. Like seriously, that's because the FIA is normally the kind of, I wouldn't say dictatorial organization, but very, very autocratic in their ways. They don't tend to take back a lot of fan feedback. It's largely drivers, safety, all the procedural things. And Mohammed bin Salam doesn't like to hear a lot of other people. In fact, when someone disagrees with him, they kind of get away from the FIA. Let's put it that way. They find new adventures to work on. So this for the FIA to hear the people and their reactions for the first time. I genuinely, Sundaram, want to be in the FIA's office as just a tiny little fly on the wall, just to see the reactions, because that must have been phenomenal.
I think that was literally the talk of the whole event, people booing FIA and a couple of other people as well. I have a fairly strong opinion about this. Do you think it was fair for people to boo the FIA? Because I'll give you a little bit more context in that regard. Do you think it was fair of them to do that?
I get a feeling it's not about whether it's fair or not. Firstly, anyone being booed anytime is not right, I would say, especially when you're not able to see both sides of the story, if that's the way, one has to see it. But you've got to see it from the crowd's perspective. The crowd is going to go with what the crowd sentiment is. And currently, I'm yet to meet a fan or a driver or anyone who actually feels that what the FIA is doing with regards to certain rules and regulations is fair. And unfortunately, they just get booed. Like I said, Mohammed bin Salam can be remembered for having the 11th and maybe even the 12th team in Formula One, and that'll be his legacy. He doesn't really want that. He wants his legacy to be telling drivers to not wear jewelry, telling drivers to not swear on the radio and whatever else. And unfortunately, that's become the hallmark of his tenure as the president. Should he be booed? No, I think there are better ways to express dissent, like people anyway do on social media. But, crowd sentiment, when you bring a crowd together, this is what you get.
Ultimately, these sports thrive on emotions, whether it's love or whether it's hatred. So for some, embracing the showmanship, embracing the tribalism might just be the best way to take the show forward. And what we've learned over the last half decade, I'd say, is that Formula One needs a lot more of it. Even though we look at it and say, maybe not, maybe we'd not like to attend. Just like Max, we get there and we see the kind of success it leads to, as Sundaram mentioned earlier.
The mention around FIA was not respect to FIA's involvement in Formula One in recent years. I don't think so anyone actually got the rest of the sentence that Laura Winter mentioned. She said that FIA's continuous improvements in safety over the past several decades, and that safety bit got probably muffled out through all the boos that people were saying. And that's why my question comes around. Sure, there's a lot of recency bias about what one central figure has been doing around in Formula One in recent years, or one specific position. If you talk about stewards, they've not been taking a lot of right decisions in that regard. But I personally felt people reacted a bit too quickly. And sure, we allow people to react. But when it comes to FIA and safety and what they've done and what strides they've taken in the last several years, I think that specifically does not need to be booed. And that's what I was coming to.
I think what you're saying is right. The minute they said FI, the boos started, and whatever Laura Winter said after that just got drowned in. But that again goes to show, right, that yes, it's one person, but the way this person is ruining the legacy, if that's the word I can use, publicly, it's just unfortunate. Can we do anything about it? Well, yes, he can. Is he wanting to do anything about it? No, he wants to go and make statements like, it's not the British Grand Prix, it's the Qatar Airways British Grand Prix. Okay, and those kind of points that he makes. So anyway, I think it was a massive success with or without the booing necessarily. I'm yet to come across something that Formula One has done at such a grand scale where you think that they've cut corners. I think it was full marks to the team for doing this.
And F1 is the leader in all sports yet again. Talk about the technology, talk about the money, talk about the broadcast, talk about the scale of the event. Other sports need to follow. And it just proves Formula One is the pinnacle, not just of motorsports, but in many ways of all other sports as well, in so many different aspects at this point in time. It's mind-blowing.